What's up YouTube, it's your boy Barcode. I'm back with another video. I just won a cookie. Actually, I don't have any cookies in my house, so I actually just won some peanut butter filled pretzels. They're pretty good. This video is going to be about the new barrier battle and all the update to it. And why did I win these peanut butter filled pretzels, you ask? I'm going to tell you in this video. I'm also going to talk about some things that I want to update with this barrier battle. If you like this content, you know what to do. Smash that sub button, hit the like button, and hit that bell dingy dingy thing. You know when I post a video. Let's get to it. I need to wash down these peanut butter filled pretzels with some coffee. You like my cup? Alright, let's talk about the new barrier battle that came out. As you see, my name is at the top of the list. It's all about recognition. You don't really get anything for being at the top of this list, but I feel like you should. But I'm going to talk about how I did that. It's very simple. First of all, when this barrier battle ends, you're going to have 24 hours to see what the next barrier battle is, and you can kind of plan accordingly. I'm going to show you my team comp that I used, the runes that I used, and the skill stones that I used. This session's barrier battle was unrecoverable. I've done a video about this before, but there's new monsters out, so I wanted to talk about that. To get your name right at the top of this list, you literally need to be the first one to complete the whole barrier battle and to get 10 wins and 0 losses. So you need to know exactly how to go about it going into the barrier battle. I personally feel like if you set aside your personal time to do this right at server reset, you should get rewarded for maybe the top 50 or top 100, especially number 1, 2, and 3. Because you're doing this blindly without copying anyone else's deck. Because you can go into here and click on my name and copy this deck and see what I used to win. So that's what I'm going to talk about here and show you what I use, and I'll show you a match or two. First, I want to talk about some things that can actually revamp this little barrier battle. I do like this new leaderboard system that they implemented. But like I said, I feel like the top 3 players who complete this first and get 10 wins and no losses should get some kind of reward. These people are the first people to go about it. They have a strategy in mind, they implement it, and they strike and they win. So come to us, let's set up some kind of reward system for this leaderboard. I think that'll make it more competitive and to get people to do it right at server reset. I also want to talk about where there's like 24 hours in between each barrier battle. All you can do currently is just see what the next barrier battle is, and you can kind of plan your strategy, but you can't really test it. Not in the same instance. You can bring it into normal battle or dual mode or ranked or whatever, but you're not really sure unless you've done the barrier battle before and you've been successful with it. You're going in blind. And when there's new monsters that get released in the future, the meta's going to change. So I feel like during that 24-hour period, you should be able to practice and test in this barrier battle without any kind of like count system or whatever for wins and losses. It's just 24 hours of testing, and you can just get like glory stars or whatever the case may be. All right, this is the deck that I used to get the 10 wins, 0 losses, top of the leaderboard. First of all, I started right at server reset. That's when the barrier battle opens. And right when I won a match, I spammed start to go to the next one. The barrier battle is unrecoverable, so you cannot heal from this whatsoever. So key things to note to keep your team alive: bring anything that you can to sustain your team without heals. So that means Divine Protection, Blood Curtain, Wusa, Chloe, and personally I brought some Crowd Control in Hathor and Molong. That really saved me a couple matches. So first and foremost, I put Molong in the front. This is to get that initial damage up front when he dies, plus it's an extra stun depending on what cards I get to start. I put Wusa in the second spot. I didn't honestly use Wusa a lot. There was only 1 or 2 times when I did use Wusa, and that's when the enemy had a Wusa and used it first, because my team's very aggressive. I put Galleon in the third spot, and this is to help the Saurian and Ganymede. I thought about bringing Megan instead with the purple stone so I get that 2 mana at the initial start. I put Hathor in that 4th spot, and she saved me so many times, it's ridiculous. Hathor can be so strong when her sleep lands, but it also applies deceleration, and that leads to my 5th spot, Ganymede, which will decrease the deceleration and also burn all the enemy's cards. And now that he's gotten 2 updates, I think, on damage, he's really good in this level 10 meta. I bought Beretta because Beretta is pretty much a staple, especially in Unrecoverable, where a lot of people don't bring cleanses because they heal, and there's no reason to bring a heal. They bring Soul Cleanse because it's a heal. People forget to bring a cleanser when it's Unrecoverable. A lot of people bring Wusa instead, but Wusa's 5 mana, and if you play it right, you can actually get around Wusa, especially when you got got Ganymede, and you have Orion on this team. In this 7th spot, I brought one of the strongest level 10 meta characters there are in Tessarion. Tessarion can hit like a champ. He has no elemental disadvantage. And going back on Galleon, I used the Tessarion Green Stone, which does more damage for the amount of debuffs that are on the other team. And then last but not least, I brought my little man Orion. The 8th spot was pretty hard to decide on. It was either going to be Zhen or Thrain. Reason I brought Orion is because of the low mana cost. And Orion can literally 1 versus 3 if he needs to. And Orion definitely saved me in about 2 matches or 3 matches as well. For spells, I brought Weakness Found for a couple different reasons. 1, it applies a lot of debuffs and that helps Tessarion. 2, it's unrecoverable, so there's going to be more like Divine Protections, Blood Curtain, Wusa, Chloe, etc. I also brought Spoil for more AoE damage and dots. And then I brought Blood Curtain for some safety. Runes and Skill Stones. Beretta, I don't have a purple stone yet, and I really wish I did. Speaking of Beretta's purple stone, I feel like it should increase his mana cost to 5, because 3 ticks on 4 is ridiculous. So that applies the 2 dots plus an extra debuff of Glancing, which also helps Tessarion as well. I brought Tessarion's Green Stone because it increases damage by 5% per harmful effect on the enemy when he uses his skill. Molong, I do not have a skill stone, unfortunately. For Wusa, I brought the green skill stone to increase the shield amount and also the immunity duration. Hathor, no skill stone. Ganymede, I brought the green skill stone, which lowers his mana cost by 1. But man, if I had that purple skill stone, this would make this team even stronger, I feel like. But also the green skill stone is really good. To decrease his mana cost to 4 is really strong, especially for the amount of damage he does. And all the utility he does with card burning, it's ridiculous. Galleon's green stone just increases the duration of his time to loot by 3 seconds, which can be key, so I can kind of hold off and counter when they use a skill, so I can use the Tessarion at the right time. And then Orion with the purple stone, which just gives his card back with a lower mana cost. But Orion is so good, it's ridiculous. In world tournaments, if I ever see Orion or Perna, I usually ban them, because I cannot stand Orion. Cannot stand Orion. But he's so good. I'll go over runes real quick. It's just the skill set. It doesn't matter about substats in this berry battle. Focus on Beretta, Tessarion, Fatal, Molong Energy, Wusa Energy, Hathor Swift, Ganymede Fatal, Galleon on Swift, and Orion on Fatal. I was thinking about putting Beretta on Violent, but the reason I didn't is because if I saw Tessarion was on deck, I would use Beretta to put out all the dots and the glancing. And if his Violent procced, I would have been screwed, and I wouldn't be able to do big damage with Tessarion. Yeah, I could have put up some more dots and glancing rank 2, but I feel like Tessarion would do more damage, especially if they do bring some kind of cleanser or Wusa or whatever the case may be. I'm going to go over 2 matches, one with my boy Sarcasmic, and he brought a Kernodon, which is really smart in this. But unfortunately for him, for buffs, I only used Wusa. And when I saw he had a Kernodon, I didn't use it at all. And now I'm going to show you another match against Sisfus? My sister's fuzz? Oh, that sounded weird. But he went with an AoE comp as well with Tessarion, Huadam, and Thrain, and even Ganymede, and a Megan Purplestone, and a Konamiya. So let's start out with my sister's fuzz here, and I'll talk about the gameplay through it. Coffee. Alright, first and foremost, he uses Bernard, so I tried to throw out a Galleon because my cards start sucked there, but he used Wusa to defend against it, so I'm just waiting for immunity to go off. He used it, so I'm going to use Wusa now. And now I'm set. He doesn't have a Wusa. I go ahead and use Beretta. And I kind of wait to see what he uses. He uses Megan. I used Tessarion to do big damage because he had a lot of debuffs up there. He used Ganymede, but I still had immunity up. There goes Hathor, sleeping that Huadam. Huge mana trade. I used Blood Curtain there to get some more shield. He used Wusa. I used Card Burn. So he's really kind of stuck there. He used Wusa again, so I used Wusa. So really the only time I used Wusa is if they used the Wusa. So now the immunity's down. I use Galleon. Counter Tessarion before the Wusa goes. He's got Ganymede. I want to use Orion here just to strip some buffs. He uses Wish of Mortality. With Wusa again, I use Spoil. AoE damage, big dots, kill the whole team. GG. Super speed commentary. I mean, if you really need to, you can pause the video on YouTube, you know what I mean? Pretty sure you can even slow it down if you need to. Alright, now for the last match of Sarcasmic. This is my last match to get the 10 wins. When I talked to Sarcasmic too, this is his 3rd loss, so I'm sorry about that, buddy. But this is an interesting team comp that he's using. It's very unorthodox, but obviously if I'm pretty sure he had 9 wins and 2 losses. But this is an AoE type of team here. He did break Diaz for Unrecoverable, which it's just good AoE damage, I get it. at a 3 mana cost. But I feel like if you brought like someone else, like a Beretta or a Ganymede or Thrain or whatever, probably could have beat me, because I'm pretty sure if I remember it got pretty close. Alright, first and foremost, I got a decent card set up here. I'm just waiting to see what he does. I used Card Burn because he didn't use anything. He used Diaz to just get some AoE damage off. He uses Galleon. I use Beretta. He cleanses, but then I have Hathor in my back pocket and Sleep that cleanse, which was huge. I have Molong still alive. I stun the Thessarian. He does no damage. I use Galleon again. I use Spoil with the defense break on the other side, which is big damage plus the dots. Then I use Thessarian. Big, huge damage overall. It's pretty much GG from there. This wasn't close like I thought it was. I couldn't remember. This was yesterday. Whatever. But GG. This is pretty good way of how to use this team comp. Everything worked out perfectly. So that's it for today's video. Now we're just waiting on new content, right? New monsters, some PvE content. Let's get this going. I feel like the player base is going down a little bit. The game is still going strong, but we are losing people, so we need some more content to bring back the old players, bring in new players. Come on, come to us. Let's go. So if you like the content, you know what to do. Sub, like, dingy bell. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.